Welcome to Launch Your Classroom's Ask an Educator. This month we are continuing our discussion on active learning, and we have with us today Ryan Hennessy. Ryan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kyle.
Ryan, what do you see as the biggest benefit to active learning in the classroom?
The biggest benefit is the learning growth. You know, the research is there when students are actively involved in their own learning process and they're engaged with the content, then they learn and retain more. You know, the other side of that coin is that when they're engaged and they're active in their own learning, they're less likely to be bored. And when they're bored, that's when they start looking around for something else to do to keep themselves occupied. And those things are the ones that we as teachers find ourselves addressing in our classroom management styles.
Great, so a lot of benefits to learning and behavior.
Sure.
Yeah. So some teachers may be using active learning for the first time, and maybe their students are used to more direct instruction. So what does a teacher need to do to prepare those students for active learning?
I think the teacher needs to be really specific about how they want that student to operate within the activity. So for example, the first time I did a jigsaw activity with my fourth graders in a literacy block, I knew exactly how I wanted that activity to go. And so during the activity, there was a part where I needed them to get up and rotate, right, as you would do in a jigsaw. And I knew how I wanted it to look, and Kyle, it did not end up looking like that. And so I thought about it later, and it was an easy fix. I needed to let the students know precisely how to operate within the activity. So I numbered the tables, and it went much better. That's how I had it pictured.
All right, good. So clarifying your expectations and teaching your procedures. You hit on a good point that sometimes active learning is messy. And I know sometimes as teachers, we prefer it to be clean, but it doesn't always happen that way. So, you know, if you do have an activity that doesn't go the way that you think it should, is that the time to give up on it, or what are your next steps at that point?
No, you know, with the jigsaw example that I gave you, I'm glad I didn't give up on it.
Right.
After the second time it got better, and the third time, and then my students really embraced it. So I think when you are first getting into active learning, you have to be willing to observe the mess and then go back and address the parts that you need to change immediately. And hang in there.
Yeah.
It is worth it. And I think over time you will find that it can be a lot of fun for a teacher too.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us today.
You're welcome.